love is all around me. Oh, let me know that love is all around me. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Soul Fulfilling. My name is Rickie Byars, and I'm here to love in a holy, holy way. If you're here to love in a holy, holy way, come on into the room. If you're here learning about it, just watch us. Come on into the room. My name is How Do You Do? Hold on a minute. Let me bring up the comments so I can see. Oh, they're coming in. Hi, Quinn. Who is that said, I am unconditional love? What a great name. Hey, Margaret Tahar, Chef Lori, y'all better come on into the room, because we're here to love in a holy, holy way. Are you here to love in a holy way? Let's love in a holy way. Oh, let me learn from all the ways I fall. Let me learn from all the ways I fall. Oh, let me know that a love will heal us all. Love's gonna heal us all. Oh, let me walk each day a little kinder. Yeah. Oh, let me walk each day a little wiser. Hey, Nina, that's my sister right there. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, yes. Let me love in a holy way. The only thing about holy way, it's in a minor chord. And sometimes in the minor chords, it's mystical, very mystical. But sometimes I just want to hear something with a major, something, you know, with a major writer, you know. So I don't know, I'm thinking about changing the No, I ain't changing it. I'll just do a song back to back. I'll go from minor to major. But I'm not going to do that right now, because I got a special guest with me today. Yeah, where you going with that wrong key, Rickie? So he talks about the song that's inside of him. He's talking about life and the language of love that is rooted in sound and music and rhythm and vibration. I'm talking about Life Coach ADE, Anita Woshe, who's with us tonight in the room. My podcast mentor, my podcast daddy.
Podcast daddy. Okay, that's a new title.
Yeah, because you're the PD. Like P. Diddy gives a whole nother, anyway, you know. But you're the one that got me started in this, and I thoroughly enjoy what I'm doing and how we roll. And so let's welcome.
Speaking of getting you started, is there something going on with your microphone? I don't know. It looks like it's not picking you up very well.
My microphone's not picking me up? Really?
Well, I mean, I can hear you, but it's almost like, I can hear you, but it's almost like there's another microphone that's picking you up. That's what it sounds like.
There's another microphone that's picking me up. That means you got more Rickie.
But yeah, I mean, I can hear you, but I listen for a living.
You're probably hearing the monitor. Is this better?
It's better.
Now I can't hear.
No, turn it up. I mean, it's fine. It's just we'll keep going.
Yeah.
That I put attention to it.
Is that better?
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's making a difference, but can you hear me? That's the most important thing.
Oh yeah, I can hear you very well. Now,
Okay, we're
can
good.
they hear us? Now, can the
Yes.
people?
Yeah, they will. Yeah,
Okay.
they will.
Hi, Maxine. Hi, Joanne. Chef Lori is in the house with us. Quinn Fontaine. See, everybody's happy to see. They got Coach ADE with all these exclamation points. They're happy to see you. Charlotte Johnson, come on into the room, everybody. Come on. This is where you belong. You know what I called it was the organic bar of remembrance. We are here at the organic bar of remembrance. What does that mean? That means that we're here to recalibrate in the truth that God is love and the love is here. It's here. So many times, I was reading some of my old readings on an old computer, and I was not looking for what I found. I was not looking for what I found. But what I found was extraordinary. I found some old writings and different things from when I was your age, and perhaps a little younger, and it was amazing. It's like the energy, the hope, the reasons were all so fresh and wonderful. The honesty, the courage, it was all there. It was all there. And they were like prayers in the wind, old prayers in the wind programs, revelation programs. Because what would happen would be, I was kind of like architecting in the back of the room, like writing out what the program would be like. And then I would take it to Michael, and he would look at it, and we'd flesh it out together. But a lot of that stuff, I was, putting the script of it together so that everything flowed, and that there was an order to it. There was like, and that's what artists do. That's what we do. That's not like, whoa, look what I did. It's not that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that's what I did. And in those writings, there was something, there was a process in there that was there. And it was something, it says something like, at one point, instead of looking for the right looking for the right person, looking for the right person to be with, something like that you're living to be the right person. You're not looking for the right person. You're living to be the right person. That is not outside of yourself here. It's here. And so I have the life coach that's on with me tonight, who helps people, who coaches people. And then he wrote a book. This is not your first book, is it?
Well, the first published book. I have several books I have several books in old computers as well that almost made it but didn't. But this one.
Okay. So this is your first published book.
Exactly.
Okay, because I wasn't sure. So I said this is your first, your new release. But this is your first book. Oh my gosh, this is the first book.
I've talked to you about hey. Yeah, I've talked to you about my memoir, but I knew that this one needed to come out first before I released the memoir, because I've been working on this, and it's just Spirit was saying, I got to do this. This got to open the way, and it certainly did. And I learned a lot along the way.
Oh yeah, I bet you did. Well, we're going to talk about what you learned. I have a question. Tell us about the cover. Now, if you don't have his book right now, let's talk about this book. The name of the book is Spiritual Appetizers for the Soul. And I got to say hello to Francine. Hey, Fran Butler. I can't believe you on, Fran. Go, girl. Fran joins us from Claxton. Georgia. Yeah, and she would help to take care of my Uncle George, make sure he had food. We'd bring his breakfast every day and cook food that he would eat for dinner and that kind of thing. And she's in the thread. Hey, Fran, it's so good to see you here. And Joanne Long. Oh, come on. Let's keep on rolling. Let's roll. The dignitaries are here and they're coming. All right. So tell us about the cover. and that drum. And are those your hands on the book?
Correct. Yes.
Tell us
So
about it.
those of you in IG. So you talked about what artists do. You talked about revelation of things that you contributed, and Michael then working on it and tweaking it. And it's one of those things that way of being is how everything is. But sometimes it just depends on what we put in our attention. So this is me drumming. I'm part of an organization called Interplay. And in one of our rehearsals, I think I was drumming, and somebody there, her name is Ruth. She taking pictures, and she said, "Let me take a picture of you." And she took a picture. This was probably about maybe 4 years ago, a long time ago. And then when I was writing the book and thinking about self-publishing, I spoke to another friend who had published. And she was giving me some ideas because I was like, oh, I don't know how to do this, whatever. And then she said, oh, yeah, she gave me some pointers of what to do. And I was very happy. She said, when I think of your book, that picture with your hands on it? I think you should make it your cover. When she said it, I felt it. But in my mind, I'm like, I don't know. But I tend to listen and follow through when I feel that inner nudge, even if intellectually I'm kind of like, I don't know, but I go with that feeling because it's so strong. So, and what I did is basically decided to do it, to use it. And in the intro, kind of explain why I was used the drum, because I played the djembe drum, but I didn't learn. Nobody taught me how to play the drum. I just knew I can play the drum.
You have good rhythm. You have good rhythm on the djembe.
My rhythm will take you to the next level. You
God when I come to the UK, you better show me what you're working with.
Well, I got my drum here. It's kind of late, but maybe I'll do something. I don't know. So I thought I'd tie it in, and because these messages that are here, I never thought of myself as a writer, or even think I never had a dream of writing a book. But over the years, things that just kind of happened. When I started writing daily thoughts from the hill, somebody suggested me without even communicate with me. They just told me, they said, well, we're looking for a new author, and I put your name forward. I'm like, what? And he said, yeah, that's Michael Billups, who works in the media department. And he said, you got a handle of truth, and you're a teacher, and I think you'll be good. And I was like, oh, wow. And before that, I've been blogging every now and then. What I didn't like about blogging was people would say, when you blog, just something short. But when I start to write and type, it's just pouring through me, and it's just like long. I'm like, I can't do this. This is too long. So I was pushing it away, thinking I can't blog. I write too long, that people are not going to pay attention. And, over the years, I've been collecting all those messages through my radio show, sometimes coaching. Sometimes it comes to me in my meditation, and I write it down.
Yeah.
And it's very clear to me that the ability to drum, the gift of drumming, and where these messages come from is from the same plane. It's a vibration, it's a rhythm that I tune into. And I'm still getting more. They still keep coming. Yeah. Because it's just how I've cultivated my life. I don't know.
You're a writer. It's going to be coming.
Yes, exactly.
You are a writer. You're a writer, and you're a man of substance. So what I want to say about the opportunity to create from our gifts is such a privilege to be able to do that. And looking at those old programs, I didn't look at too many of them. I saw that Pat Connolly said she still reverberates from time. What she said, she still reverberates from times at the Revelations with you. I don't know. It's not staying up there. I'm sorry.
Well, I think you and Sue are trying to click it at the same time.
Well, then I'll let her do it. She said, I still reverberate sometimes at the Revelation with you and Michael, and the practitioners and everybody, and the choir and everything. But the revelations, the prayers in the wind were the ones that really had me going today, though, because I got to see how all that writing ability, was used for something specifically, not just like. And I did eventually get the confidence to put it in a book. Yes. But before then, I was doing those programs, and just it was being used. And here's a shout out to a time, because you just never know. Sometimes it's an era, and there'll never be another era like that of those people, but you never know what's percolating over here. I mean, they got some people out here that are doing amazing things. And sometimes just because all you knew was agape, or all you knew was Culver City, and or New Thought, then you kind of in that hub, and that's all you knew, and that's the greatest thing you knew. But I'm here to tell you, late Sunday night, some kind of way, a thread came up. I was listening to Sonia Sanchez, the great poet, and her playlist. And it just kept revealing all these bad poets. Man, these poets were serious. And then this one couple came up, this poets, spoken word, and they're talking about Adam and Eve in a poem. One's Adam and the other one's Eve, and they're talking. I mean, they were incredible, and they're biblical people, man. I'm telling you, I don't know how I got in that thread, but it was like I was going to sleep and wake up and hear another great one. Go to sleep, another great speaker, people that I never would listen to because, my mind was closed off to a certain kind of message if it didn't look like the agape message. Plus, I was at church all the time. So, it's like you didn't need to hear people speaking. And plus, the whole internet has shifted and, it's changed. I mean, YouTube has changed everything. So much is posted there that you can experience the world there. There's so much,
Yes.
but when you say New Thought, a lot of times, and I was dealing with that myself in the B-hood, when a Christian comes into the room or somebody that talks about Jesus or somebody that's talking about the Bible, I experienced this with you, life coach. I'm going, why you gotta be talking about the Bible? But but my Uncle George gave me the iBible, and I gave that to Georgia, the iBible. And she said, oh yes, I got a place for this. And I just recently gave her Uncle George's Bible, and she was like, oh. And Fran that might bring tears to her eyes because she remembers, how much Uncle George loved church, and this person is the one that brought me to New Thought. You know what I mean? New Thought. But there's something about not being in church, and now you're in a different kind of church, and you feel like you're exclusive, like you have your own way, you have your own language, And it was my job, sorta, to keep things feeling universal. Nobody gave me the job. I made it my job. But on Sunday night, let me hear you. Let the church say something. On TBN, these young people were killing it. I mean, their messages were very, very powerful. And I got inspired. And I was reading one of your passages in the great spiritual Appetizers for the Soul, where you were quoting something from a writing. It was a writing in September that you wrote from the words from the heel, thoughts from the heel. And you quoted Ephesians, and you talked about we sing our prayers or something like that, or songs and hymns. And you might want to read it right now because that was such a beautiful quote.
So this, if I think yes, it's the daily thoughts. Yeah. You said so much that just got me like alive now. I feel so awake. When I was getting closer to getting this book ready, I think it was around September, and this is a daily thought that I've written. And it just matched this whole thing. There is a song inside of you, and
wait, what'd you say?
Hold on. Don't ruin my moment because I'm setting this up. I already know. I'm connected with you. I'm setting this up.
We're thinking things with that.
Yes. No,
go ahead, my brother.
There's so much I can say. There's a song inside of you, of course. You have a song called There Is a Song Inside of You, which I remember when I heard that song, because I struggled with, they're saying everybody has a gift, and I don't know what my gift is, blah, 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 blah. But there's a song inside of you. And it was one of those songs. I mean, your songs, when I listened to it, I was listening to Be Heard in the last few days, and it's a prayer, continuous prayer. So in daily thoughts, I use that because it is real that we all have a song, but when we're limited, we think I can't sing. Who said anything about how Rickie sings or how somebody? Your song is your way of being, that thing that makes you come alive. And when you share it, people go, oof. So for me, it was around the time I was designing the book, and I just thought, this goes very well. Now, I write the daily thoughts for Hillside, but they have the copyright. So I asked, and I wasn't sure if they were going to let me use it, but then I thought, of course they're going to let me use it. But I wasn't that arrogant to feel like, of course. But then they said yes. I was like, hey, and I was preparing myself just in case. Like, well, we own the copyright. I would probably would have some issues about it, but thankfully God did not want me to go through that. It's like, no,
everything is flowing just wonderfully there. There's nothing but love for you.
That's right. And so even this messages, your song is part of the influence people that I've looked to. I mean, even Reverend Michael, the thing that he said that woke something up inside of me that made me think, wow, Dr. Barbara, I used to write quotes down. And I was sharing on one of my lives that there were times I would just write the quotes that came to me, but I won't put my name. I just write it down. I was like, oh, that's good. I didn't have
the piece that I was talking about was from Ephesians.
Let's see. I think, oh, wait, okay. So here it is. Here's the script. Here it is. So this is the scripture, with daily thoughts.
Yeah.
Right, daily affirmation.
And
right.
You have the scripture.
Yeah. So the scripture is speaking to your souls in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs. Sing with your heart to the Lord. Ephesians 5:19. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah. And that whole passage was just really beautiful. Your book is beautiful. I can't wait to get mine in the mail because I just perused it on Amazon.com. You should register your book on Thrift Books too. Thrift Books is a very beautiful site. And,
what is it? Thrift Books? Okay.
Thriftbooks.com. And some people have an issue. They have a challenge with Amazon sometimes. Well, if you do, you can go to thriftbooks.com and get, but it's not registered on Thrift Books. So get your book in as many places as you can. Make it easy.
Right. It's going to be on Barnes and Nobles as well. I think it should be now. It's going to take a few days, but it'll be on. I'm working. One of the many things I'm working on, creating a graphic that has a lot of the book platforms and have it out there. But yes, we get to sing our song. Spirit says to sing your song, do it.
Yeah. Well, Kimberly Lovelace had a beautiful message here with regards to her Baptist background. And I kind of think that sometimes, and I don't know if you can relate to this because you were raised kind of like in Germany and the UK, right?
Well, UK and Nigeria. My mother was pregnant with me in Germany. And then just before I came out, she said, no, we're going to drop you in another land.
Yeah.
But mom was a Christian, dad is Muslim. So I have that sort of thing going on.
So you have both. You have both. Yeah. So well, you know what I'm talking about, but sometimes, you meet, you don't meet Jesus, you meet people's idea of religion or people's thought of religion and how to control people through it, and that turned off a whole lot of people. And it was Jesus or this vibration of Yeshua or whatever his name was. I knew he was talking to me. And I knew he was coming to me because I needed to feel what he sent through me so that I could be on a righteous path. And I don't know how I got to be chosen to be that person. I just am thankful that that probably had a lot to do with my heart, but he was like, hey. And it was interesting because when it happened, there had been a terrible thing that was happening with Dr. Barbara, and she had tracked us down in Europe, and she was being ministered to and being with the audience of Michael. So they were talking, and I just kind of like went to sleep. After a while, I was like, it's been a long day, and then it was like I was awakened in the middle of the night, and boom, there it was. That was my time to be spiritually realigned.
Yes.
And For some reason in my journey, and I was telling Georgia this, in my journey, it wasn't, my journey didn't come up with, after that happened to me, I didn't come out like praise Jesus. You know, that was not what it did to me.
Mm-hmm.
What it did to me was like,
Yes.
it was like that. It was like that. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with praise Jesus. I'm just saying that's not the way my
Right.
road, you know, not yet, you know,
Right.
because I have already ordained, I've already proclaimed that probably by the time I'm 80, I'm going back to the old church because they be jamming. You know, I mean, the old church, like one of them kind that be rocking like when I was a little girl, you know, that got them songs like, you know, and he walks with me and he talks with me and he tells me I am his own, and the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. God speaks, and the sound of his voice is so sweet that the birds hush their singing, and the melody that God gave to me within my heart is ringing, for he walks with me and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own, and the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. Let us walk with God. Come on and talk with God. Let us know that we are God's own, and the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known.
Yes.
Yeah, we're here to walk. We're here to walk with God. You know, and God is big, God is huge, God is some kind of way. God wrapped his arms around me, and I think your book is going to show us how to do a whole
Mm,
lot of that. You know,
mm,
because you got these little appetizers. So your dedication is to those. I was like, oh, that book is dedicated to me. He said the book is dedicated to those who are inspiring a revolution of love,
mhm.
self-acceptance, and the courage to dive deeper. Go on, man. So the people on the thread, do you have the courage to dive deeper? Hi, Lisa.
Mhm.
Jesus rocks through Rickie.
I like that.
And listen, Lisa, I'm telling you guys, you know, I was not the cat, man. You know, I don't know when it happened, but what came to me was like, I am the one that you loved when you were a little kid. I am the one who loved you. I was always with you. It was just like,
Yes.
I love you,
Mhm.
you know. What, you know, and it was just like, but it wasn't like, it wasn't like that. It was
Mhm.
like what would
Mhm.
life be like if we weren't trying to push things down people's throat? I mean, and a lot of so-called church people do that. And
Mhm.
what would happen if we revealed it?
Yeah,
If we
that's too much
revealed,
responsibility for some people.
hmm?
It's too much responsibility for some people to reveal God. So instead, they'll put it on you that you got to do this so that God can do that. But when we, as you say, reveal God,
Yeah,
that's a new way of being that causes you to look at yourself,
yeah,
diving deep and piercing through the interpretation. Life is a never ending story.
yeah.
And what we're living is other people's interpretation
Of everything.
of everything.
Hmm.
So we have the opportunity, the capacity, the responsibility to get our own interpretation of this thing called God. So then when we hear the Quran, read the whatever holy book we read, we can go to the spirit.
Yeah.
We can sit long enough because the I started to actually I was listening to the Quran. It's something that I've been wanting to listen to for a long time.
Hmm.
And there's so much I can say about that. But anyway, a few days ago, I went for a walk and it just came back to me. And I went on YouTube and there's an audiobook of Quran and I was listening to it. I was like, because I wanted to know like these different interpretations that we call religion.
Hmm.
What's their foundation
Hmm.
and why they live in the way they live, why they believe in what they believe. So it amazes me when people feel they have to debate and fight about religion. While they
Hmm.
say Christianity is the best way, religion is Muslim, Islam is the best way, and why I don't get it. So anyway, I started to listen, and I was like, wow, the Quran so far, what I've read is very inclusive. It talks about Islam, it talks about the Christianity, it talks about the Jewish tradition and everything. But there's still that similar conversation of like the Bible.
Hmm.
What God's gonna do, put you in hell or whatever, and punish you if you don't do right.
Hmm.
And as I'm listening, I'm asking questions like, what is it? And what I
Hmm.
heard is, it's like when you tell a story, everybody tells a story based on their own perspective, their own understanding.
Hmm.
So when we tell a story, the minute you interpret something, you're going to water it down anyway. So
Hmm.
it's not the absolute truth. You've
Hmm.
watered it down. You've added your perspective to it. You've added your culture to it. And
Hmm.
what I'm learning more and more is even the things that make me go, that is dumb, to kind of sit with it a little bit, to
Hmm.
see the truth, maybe a sprinkle of truth, the
Man.
universal truth in that dumbness. Like,
Hmm.
oh, it's dumb, but there's some truth. I see the truth because
Yeah.
all of it comes from God.
Well, like you said, sometimes we're leaning on our own understanding, and our understanding is meager. But we have this big idea of who we think we are, and that's not such a bad thing. But it's kind of like when you're raised with a certain disrespect, you know. And I was in my 20s,
Mm-hmm.
not as a child. I was raised with other respect, you know,
Mm-hmm.
for God and the Bible or whatever. But you know, by the time I hit 20, it was like, nah,
I mean,
colonizer religion, it's like
yes.
you can, it's like, don't, and I married somebody that had no place for the Bible or
Mm,
anything because of how he was raised, and he was so strict. So he was
yes.
running in the other direction, and I got
Yeah.
kind of got caught in the middle of it. But
Mm-hmm.
in 1975, when I went into Alice Tully Hall with my uncle George, and I met, the teachings of science of mind, then that was something that didn't have that much Jesus in it. even
Right.
though everything they were doing was all Jesus.
Mhm.
Everything they were doing was Jesus. They
Yes.
just had kind of put Ernest Holmes' name on it.
Mhm.
But Ernest Holmes was just interpreting in his wisdom and with what his skill set was, the
Mhm.
teachings of Jesus.
Yeah.
That's what he was doing. His
Mhm.
greatest work is reflecting the teachings of Jesus. And so in unity, you get practical Christianity.
Christianity. Yes.
You get
Yeah.
Joel Goldsmith, and he's giving you a whole nother way to
Mhm.
see it. But these people are people that are given their from their understanding of what is deeper than all of us. And I'm not talking about the Bible, I'm talking about
Yes.
the love that seeps through even a book that wasn't even a book. That love is so important. It's
Yes.
so everything that we are, that even in a book that wasn't even a book, that didn't even get printed for for a long time, that
Right.
that in all of that, this story of
Mhm.
love that
The
can
story of
heal,
love. The
you know,
story of love.
is inspiring, just like a song does.
Yes.
It's a song of life. And I'm just
Mhm.
thankful that I'm thankful for everything in my life that
Mhm.
is helping me, that is softening my heart. Because I'm telling
Yes.
you, I was little Paul over here. I was little Saul, before Paul became Paul, he was Saul, killing people. He was killing
Right.
Christians. Now, I
Mhm.
wasn't necessarily killing Christians, but as a music and arts director, when people would come and sing and they would sing songs about Jesus, I was like, that won't, can we
Not
gotta,
here.
we gotta say
Yeah.
spirit. But I didn't, I was kind about it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? But
Mhm.
it was what I took on. Nobody told me to do that, but I know that if somebody got up there singing about Jesus, 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 I know
Mhm.
Michael's gonna be looking at me like, what happened? You know,
Right. Right.
you know what I
Right.
mean? And other people,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
but 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 the way it was nuanced and held, nobody felt disrespected. Everybody was cool to say spirit. They were like, well, God is Jesus, it's all spirit, it's
Mhm.
all God. And they would say spirit, you know. But
Mhm.
looking back at it and everything with what I see, I'm just thankful to come to be going deeper into the teachings of love.
Yes.
Because that's all we're
Yes.
talking about. Is
That's it. Teachings of love. And somebody personified it because they sat still long enough to access love. Jesus sat still long enough to access love. Muhammad sat still long enough to access love.
Jesus
But,
didn't
but
have
don't,
to sit still. Wait, Jesus didn't have to sit still. He came here as love.
you said what?
I said, Jesus, me and Jesus, we don't have to sit so still like it.
Well, you guys are on another level. We want to be like you. Rickie and Jesus is my
Speaking of sitting still, that's why I got a candle to help me slow down. I can't, I'm not kidding you. I got this record. I got this CD. I'm telling you, the CD is changing my life. And it changes my life because I get to sit still and be
Mhm.
with it. This is the sound of
Yes.
auras. I get it. I hear the music and I stop. Now,
Mhm.
the interesting thing is that Rashid didn't approach me to do this record.
Mhm.
Rashid wasn't thinking about me with this record. You know, Rashid was just Rashid being a wonderful composer and doing the work that he does. But when I commissioned him to do this, I said, I want to do a meditation record. And, and I said what I wanted. And he thought it was a great idea. And I
Mhm.
chose the songs that I wanted. I didn't ask him what songs he wanted. I figured I'm playing, I want the songs I want.
You said it's my song.
And then when he did, I'm going like, song don't go like that. But I had to work with my own self. But anyway, what we were left with was this beautiful work that when I put it on, it's just go like,
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
and it's so important at this phase in my life. You know what I mean? A day
Yes.
where 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 they're not revelation programs.
Mhm.
There are no more prayers in the wind. Not like that. I'm in another phase. I'm
Mhm.
not building programs yearly, or, it's like, but you're in the phase, you know,
Mhm.
where you get to do a whole lot of things. And I just really encourage you and everybody on the thread to keep your energy, because, I'm not saying that I don't have the energy. I got energy, but it's just not mine to do.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? That is not mine to do.
Mhm.
It was mine to do back then, you know, but what is yours to do? It's like, it's like, hey, what is mine to do? And if
Mhm.
it's about love and loving the people around me, some people love we have these assignments. Like there are some people that are so adept. Hey, did you hear Brian Stevenson's speech at the uh, Martin Luther King celebration at
Day.
the Center
Yes.
on his
Mhm.
birthday?
Mhm.
If you didn't hear Brian Stevenson speak, Brian Stevenson is amazing. Now, Bernice was good. She was extraordinary. It's Martin Luther King's daughter. Isn't her name Bernice? Isn't
Yes.
it Bernice? Yeah, I want to call her Bernita, but Bernice. You know, but brother Brian Stevenson when he spoke. So if you didn't see it, I sent it to my sister. That's how it got started on Sunday night. And then I
Mhm.
ended up with Preston, and I think her name is Preston and Janice Perry. I think that's their names that did the Adam and Eve thing. I'm going to find it so that we can post it next week. But it was just like, it was brilliant. I mean, and then I caught Preston on a podcast speaking to another man, and they're talking about relationships in such a candid, honest way. And this guy, he gave me something, man. He gave me something. These are young people, you know. That's what I'm saying. It's not, it's like it ain't over. Like I'm just getting started, but where I'm going is going to be totally different. You hear me, Quinn Fontaine? It's going to be different. When we do our retreat, it's going to be different. It's like I've done these other things, you know. Now I'm going, I'm looking, I'm singing that song that's inside of me, and and
Mhm.
God is orchestrating it,
Mhm.
you know. So now
Mhm.
that you got your book and you know it's been out for 2 weeks, how does it feel being a superstar?
Ooh, I'll answer that question because just look at me. But anyway, let me. But when I would say something about love.
I've missed you. You're funny.
I think one of the misconceptions of love is the fact that we think love makes us passive. Love opens you up, and
Mm,
in order to allow love to do what love does through us, we must take off the mask. We must
mhm.
be ready to be stripped naked. And I think that's why most of us sometimes like, yeah, I love that love thing, because love puts you on the front line and tells you, I got you.
Yeah, yeah,
So when you talk about Brand Stevenson, the thing that he was talking about, it calls for vulnerability. It calls for telling the truth. And
yes,
when we spend too much time being afraid of our own experience and journey and things that we did that we're ashamed of, and we're afraid of that, we don't make ourselves available for love.
hmm,
All of that will be used. Like, yes, I've done some things that jacked up. I have
hmm,
messed up. I've hurt people. I've done great things. But bringing all of that and love uses that because there is no elevation, there is no connection without vulnerability.
hmm,
So
hmm.
for me, I mean, I still feel some kind of way sometimes when people say, read something out your book, or people, I'm like, ooh. I shared in a group that I'm part of on WhatsApp, and I remember when I was going to tell them I wrote the book. Some of them knew already, but I felt this nudge to say for those who didn't promote the book because I
Hmm.
have a responsibility to promote the book, the work. And I was all nervous, and I was like, "Oh my God!" And then a few minutes later, they just kept replying, saying things like, "We're so proud of you. We've always seen you with new," just like, "Oh my God, thank you. Thank you." So how does it feel like being a superstar? It is remembering that I am love embodied. That's what it
Yeah.
feels like. And, you know, this book
You
for
said that
me,
you are loved, remembering that you are loved and
embodied. Like I am love, my whole body. This is what love looks like in the
yeah.
physical body.
Oh, loved and embodied.
Yes, this
That's
is
what.
what it looks like. That's who I
Okay.
am. That's what I am. That's where I live. And my responsibility is to serve from there, serve with that. So, one of the lessons that I got out of this book, out of the whole journey, there's many, but the one that's really stood out is when I wrote it, and I didn't have an idea of how many pages it would be, but I thought maybe 150.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when it was all designed and I got it back and it was 94 pages. I was like, 94 pages? What in the world? So I was trying to get it to 100. I think I got some new quotes. Let me add it to it. And then I left it alone because it was just, there was so much that I've gone through up to that point. But every now and then I'm thinking, oh, you wrote this little book. Ooh, and now you're going to tell people you wrote a book. It's a little tiny book. And, I was working through it. I was like, it is what it is. And I looked at the experiences that I went through, the challenges, the breakthroughs, the holding on to saying, I'm going to do this. Because I knew I can do it, but I just wasn't sure if I would do it. I knew I could do it. I knew I had what it took to do it, but I just wasn't sure. So I kept pushing. And then I was talking to Keisha, my sweetheart, and I was saying, when people tell me they bought the book, I'm like, ooh, I wonder what they're going to say. I felt very vulnerable that they're going to be judgy and like, oh, I thought it was going to be a big book. Even the guy that did the design for me and it did a graphic, the book, the graphic that he created was much thicker than this. It's like 3 or 4 of this. And I was like, no, I can't do that. I can't promote this big book and then people get something small. So I told him to change it and he changed it. And Keisha, when I talked to Keisha about how I feel, some insecurities I was feeling and thinking people are going to be judgmental, I felt uncomfortable. She helped me come back to myself. That brought it down a little bit where I felt like, yeah, that's true. She's like, honey, you're a good writer. Your words are powerful. I said, yes, that's true. And I listened and it touched me, but something needed to shift inside of me. So one day I was in the shower and I was still dealing with that size thing. Somebody bought the book and I was like, oh, I wonder what he thinks about the book and the size. And in the shower, Spirit said, you are spending your time thinking about the quantity and you're missing out you're missing out on the quality of the things that you wrote. Look at the things that you wrote. Focus more on the quality
Yeah.
of what you've written than the pages.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, whoa. And when Spirit speaks, it clears all the BS. And not only that, it had me look at my life. In other places where I've been looking at the quantity, how much I have of that, that's not enough. Why this is not happening? And I started to look at the quality of my life. The quality of, you had an idea of writing a book. You said you're going to write a book. You started this a long time. Now you have a book in your hand. Stop and just be with that for a minute.
Yeah.
So it's like now the idea, quality, are we focusing on the quality or the quantity? We live in a world that talks about quality, quantity. Quantity is about how much money do you have. Money don't bring you happiness, but it sure be whatever quotes that people have.
Mm-hmm.
We live in a society where we are not told to put people first. We put profit first. And if
Well,
profit is the key, then you do anything to get there.
well, listen. When I was on the internet, on YouTube on Sunday night, the reasons why I ended up where I ended up was because, and this is not to step on anybody's toes at all, but so much that you see on YouTube and out there now of the human empowerment is stuff that we learned in the New Thought churches. It's
Yes.
right there. They're doing it, but the only difference is that program costs $15,000.
Right.
And they always say, it's free, and you get in there and it ain't free.
Mhm.
That little part they giving you is free on the
Free.
YouTube.
But
you
there's
know,
a funnel.
but
Yeah.
there is, that PORFIT was what, was versus PORPHET,
Mhm.
but that
Mhm.
profit, you
A
know,
prophet.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, they want the profit, because
Yes.
it's a money. So much of what we look at is a money thing.
Exactly.
It's like, and there's something to be said about your heart,
Mm,
about your gift,
mm,
and about your sharing.
yes.
When our orientation has been with bestseller, you know what I'm saying? New York
Mm-hmm.
Times bestseller. This
Mm-hmm.
is on your bestseller book. Hey, he sold, hey, they got 3 million hits. Hey, they had
Mm-hmm.
20, 30,000 people, blah, blah, blah. When everything is so much, not everything, but so much, so
Mm-hmm.
much is influenced by that kind of measure, as
Yes.
opposed as opposed to
Mhm.
expressing for the joy of it.
The quality.
It's
Yes.
like, what is, it's like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and sadly, you see a lot of marketing and stuff in church. You know,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it looked like a chitlins. It was, well, anyway. At the end of the day, I'm thankful. I'm thankful that it's really all about love, and that my heart is getting there. That I can even love it all,
Yes.
even if I'm not a part of. I can love what's, because God, man, God is strong. God, y'all know about God. God is bad. God, like when it's about God, your love for God and your celebration of how God is speaking through you and writing through you, and your acceptance, because you talk about self-acceptance in your dedication.
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot of times we're writing about what we need to learn.
Yes.
We're writing about what we need to learn. Self-acceptance. But hey, that big self-acceptance, that divine
Mm-hmm.
self-acceptance, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's like it's everything that you are. And so many times
Everything.
that little thought about little, this little guy here, it's like, no, you ain't that little, you're this guy, because
So much.
God is breathing through you, and
Mm-hmm.
did a good work. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
It's just like, hey, the Bible
Yes.
already existed. I mean,
Yeah.
the songs inside of me, it's like, well, hey, if that's there already, well, what you writing for? Hey, because there's more to be said. Because
This.
this is the expression planet. We came here to
That's it.
express. We
That's
came
it.
here to express. And
It's
what are we expressing when it's really good? We're expressing the love. That's what it really is. That's what it
yes.
is.
And it makes me think of this. So this would be a good segue. It's ultimately the interpretation and the misinterpretation that we have been programmed with is really an invitation to return us back to love. Return to love. Everything is about returning to love. So whether we were abused, oppressed by it, how does what we went through or are going through returns us back to love? Because love is the answer. Love is the key. And you gotta get naked to know love. You gotta strip naked. You gotta open up. Mm.
Open to love, open to love. He said, open to love, open to love. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, I want to sing with all my heart that God is my all in all. I let go of my burden. Loving God has made me free. I thank God for my freedom. Because the Spirit of God is upon me. Yes, it is. Oh, every day. It's upon me, oh yeah. I gotta sing it. Oh, it's upon my heart. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon us. Let the Spirit of God be upon you. How do we get it? How do we find it? How do we touch that Spirit deep inside of us? We gotta stop. Be still. Find a way to breathe and remember who you really are. Yeah. Who are you? You didn't make yourself. I know some people think they did. But God is a mighty good God. Yeah. A mighty powerful God. God is everything. We're talking about the Creator and ultimate wisdom. It's more than you. It's more than your thought about anything. Yet it gets to experience itself through you. So open up so it can experience itself through you, and it's gonna be good. It's gonna be coming out as books and songs and projects and ways to serve humanity, the ways to serve those in need, the ways to influence how things are done in this country, the way to stand like you came to stand. But stand. Stand with your children, with your grandchildren. Love them. And give them to God. God is smarter than you. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. And we just bless Life Coach ADE and his book, ADE. I know you miss me.
Yep. Yes.
Go to Amazon.com right now because that's where you gotta go. But you can get it on Kindle or you can get it in the paperback.
Yep.
Right there. And order your book. Before I had a dream or a lesson to remember, the Spirit deeply held the song inside of me. He got a song inside of him. He wrote about it. Thank you, Life Coach, for believing.
Thank you.
In your talent enough to let it flow.
Ooh, yes.
Now, where's that drum? You gonna play something for us? You gonna play your
All
drum?
right. Well, yeah. Let me get my drum. Oh, and I want people to know it's spiritual appetizers for the soul, bite-sized wisdom for daily living. So it's not a book you read from beginning to end. You can, but the idea is open up to a message, meditate on it. If you don't align with it, if it's like, I don't believe in that, sit with that resistance to see what comes up. Let me get my drum.
Sit with that resistance. The name of the book is Spiritual Appetizers for the Soul, Melissa. That's the name of the book,
right.
Spiritual Appetizers for the Soul. Congratulations on your book. Quinn is
Thank you.
congratulating you on your book.
Thank you,
Rest
everyone. I
peace,
see you.
Yes. Hey, rest in peace, Reverend Ruth Ackerman, who made her transition. Yes.
This is the drum. This is my drum now, but it's not the
Oh,
drum in the
wow.
picture.
That's a real drum.
Yeah, I'm gonna play it real because it's 3 a.m. over here.
Oh, it's 3 a.m. Oh my God. Oh,
so Rickie's like, I started something. Okay, hold on. I'll play for 3 seconds.
Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say,